I went out walking into a blizzard night with my warm head humming like the on street lights. And my mind was working with a vibrancy. And my mind was working with a vibrancy. I put my cold feet into a five-lit room. I was 4 pints deep before I did resume. And my mind was working with a vibrancy. And my mind was working with a vibrancy. To the street I went with music in my ears. The snow was still blowing, I was going like this. And my mind was working with a vibrancy. And my mind was working with a vibrancy. With my young head swimming in a sea of blues, how the spark of life in me was infused. And my mind was working with a vibrancy. And my mind was working with a vibrancy.
Welcome. We are back. Another day in the market. How's everybody doing? Mr. Robinson, Josh, Scrooge, Levi, Zeke, Corey, laid back, plugger, how you all doing? Hit the like button on your way in. You know the drill. Crypto, other markets, stock market, individual tickers that we usually talk about. GameStop might be breaking out. Fisker might be breaking out. Clove. It's not really, it was close to a breakout today, but still could break out if it shows some life in the next couple of days. We'll talk about it. And I'll go over a couple of swings. Maybe look for some new swings. I don't know. There's only a few that are kind of like new on the sheet, so we'll see what happens. Zeke saying Jack and Coke, Champ, and Green Day for me equals great night. How you doing, Zeke? So yeah, let's get started with Bitcoin. All right, bouncing back a little bit of, and this is going to be there's two major topics for tonight's stream, and I haven't really looked too much into crypto, but for stocks. Okay, for stocks, you know, we always have these streams where like sometimes like, all right, remember, I'm just going to keep saying hammer throughout the night, like because there's like hammer candles everywhere. That's not the deal tonight, but today we do have a lot of similar variables on a lot of charts, and those two variables are hidden bullish divergence and bullish engulfing candles on the daily. So a bunch of different stocks out, and you're going to see me saying that a bunch of times tonight, which is a good thing. I mean, if you're a bull. But yeah, we're currently at higher lows than our bottom back in March. We're at higher lows, and we have these MACDs across the board, across multiple markets where you made much lower negative momentum, which gives you that hidden bullish divergence. And then also today, we have major bullish engulfing candles everywhere. I think even on the S&P 500, which is a bullish reversal pattern, it could be just as a bullish candle pattern. So we're going to be talking about that as well. So keep that in mind. And it's actually opening up a lot of opportunity. If you watched last night's stream, and I had to clickbait the title a little, it wasn't clickbait, I just put it in all caps, but literally it's in the title, you know, Last night we talked about how these 1 hour charts were finally starting to show these variables. I told you all about the triple classic bullish divergence on the S&P. Last night we were talking about the wedge it was at, the support it was at. We were talking about the QQQ at support. We were talking about the Russell 2000 back testing. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to get to the stock market segment, but we have to do crypto first. Bitcoin just barely hanging on to this demand line with the hidden bullish divergence developing on the daily. Let's see if anything's changed on the 4 hour. You know, if you ignore this little one green island, you kind of have some classic bullish divergence already confirmed and playing out. We could probably chart a supply line that actually Bitcoin's, I think Anna actually sent this in the Discord just now. But you have this little wedge pattern over here on Bitcoin, and it's testing a breakout on the 4 hour. We'll see if it does anything. Then we have the new crypto alert, which is down about 7%. Not a great start, but it's definitely off the lows, and those lows gave you a lower low, which is allowing for triple classic bullish divergence on DSO. That was really it. It's actually also back above this level, this 38.58 support, so very nice bounce back for that today. So those are like two of the swings, I guess, but OMI still waiting for it to maybe get down to the bat PCZ, and then finally Ethereum. I'm gonna say this the whole entire night, hidden bullish divergence developing on Ethereum. It's very interesting to me that we're getting hidden bullish divergence across the board on so many different assets right now. It makes me pretty excited. And honestly, we're at much higher lows than, again, our bottoms towards the beginning of March. So I do think that this hidden, you know, it's not really confirmed anywhere, but I do think it will confirm at some point. We're at much higher lows. I think we need a really bad catalyst to like not make a higher low than those lows in March. So it looks like, you know, we had a pullback. It was a little bit extended, maybe a little bit longer than most people are hoping for, but now you're starting to turn things around. I don't know if Keanu was going to be in the stream tonight, but he was calling for that bottom, and we did have a nice day today, so we'll see what happens. But Ethereum, very similar. Skip that song. Ethereum very similar with that divergence and testing a breakout as well. So these are some, from a technical standpoint, this is like the most exciting or the most amount of variables I've seen on charts in a couple of weeks at least, because we rallied so much, right? The S&P went up like 10% or something in just a couple of weeks. Like, it's hard to get good variables when you rally that quickly. We can move on to the stock market now, but you know, when you rally like we did over here, it's hard to get variables, and that's typically not healthy, right? If we were to have had more of a, you know, higher high, higher low, and dips along the way type of rally, maybe we wouldn't have pulled back 5% on the S&P. But the fact that we just ran right like straight up, you know, typically when you get those extended moves in either direction, you get the opposite move at least for a little bit. But yeah. So last night, if you watched the stream, I was telling you all that the S&P hit its 50% retrace. It had a very nice rally off the lows, and it came back down halfway. All right. So I believe that's like Dow theory. It's not technically Fibonacci, even though it's included with most Fibonacci like retracing tools. So you went halfway back down. There's a 50% sale in comparison to like where you were, and now you're bouncing back up. And we already talked about the potential for this hidden bullish divergence last night on stream. And now it's your first day of developing it, so it's still a potential, but again, I do think that this hidden bullish divergence will confirm. Let's go see if we can find other times where we had hidden bullish divergence. Okay, on this low we had hidden bullish divergence. You could see what happened after that. Right over here we had hidden bullish divergence. You can see what happened after that. So a lot of different times you've had the same exact formation. I think we had it here as well. All right, on this low there was hidden bullish divergence. You can see what happened after that, and now yet again we have hidden bullish divergence developing. It's not confirmed yet, could take some more time. And alongside that on the daily, you have a bullish engulfing candle. All right, this green candle body is fully engulfing the previous red candle's body. Could have been any candle technically, but it's fully engulfing the previous candle's body. So very interesting. And again, I see Gold Miner saying, do you put more weight into the current inverse head and shoulders we are putting in, or do you give more weight to the much larger head and shoulders pattern from August to September for him to spy? You know, you're talking about this pattern, right? And we did talk about this head and shoulders when it looked like this, and we were breaking down over here. But at this point, this head and shoulders, right, it means absolutely nothing unless you break under this 426 level. That's your neckline pretty much. It's really just out of the picture for right now. Could it be in the picture if we have sell off and there's like a bad catalyst? Yes, but right now it's just out of the picture. So I am considering the inverse head and shoulder a lot more than the regular head and shoulders, to answer your question. But yeah, speaking of that, if we do start curling here with these variables, the hidden bullish divergence, bullish engulfing candle, and even on other indices, there's really nice variables as well to talk about. That opens up again the possibility for what I was talking about last night. But I was saying, you need to start curling first. Until we start curling back up, doesn't mean much. But now that we're starting to see a little bit of reversal, if we can continue this, I mean, these are the types of patterns that you want to see. This could, honestly, if you break out of this inverse head and shoulders, I think you're going to see all-time highs. Like if you confirm a breakout of this inverse head and shoulders, you're only going to be, you'd only be like 5% away. I think you would see all-time highs within like a month or two if you did break out of that. I mean, maybe even quicker if we go back to autopilot mode, who knows? But again, that's all hopeful thinking. It's only just one day. You don't want to get too ahead of yourself, but for the variables we have right now, it's pretty much exactly what you would have wanted to, like this is probably, from a technical standpoint, a day that we needed for the market. Because if you were to have broken this 436 level, then that opened up like another 10 points to the downside. So very, very important areas to bounce at on lower time frames. We've been talking about the hidden bullish divergence on the 4-hour. I've been talking about this wedge since up over here, and even got a 4-hour bullish engulfing candle as well with some fall through price action. On the 1-hour, look at this, you're testing a breakout. You are testing a breakout for the S&P on the 1-hour. And here's that beautiful triple classic bullish divergence we were talking about last night playing out, all right? Almost a 1.5 or more than a 1.5% rally off the lows. That's exactly what you want the divergence to do. And now you're already up 1.5% off the lows, and now you're only just testing a breakout. That's also the thing. Again, when you have these extended moves, you can move very quickly off the bottom, and then you could only be breaking out when you're already up like 2%, like I'm saying. So you're going to be pretty much going into tomorrow, the final trading day of the week, with a breakout test, unless you gap down, which right now futures are flat, but we'll see. So that's the S&P. We'll do premium trades later. Let me just keep going with the market. Russell 2000. Okay, remember these terms: supply lines and demand lines. If you get confused whenever I say that, go over here to the Discord. The link's in the description, and then go to Quick Education. And there's a whole graphic on what I mean by supply lines and demand lines. Okay, but remember we've been talking about this supply line on the Russell, right? That flipped very recently into a demand line. You used to see supply at this level. Now you're seeing demand. Okay. And you're now moving off the back test. So what are we kind of seeing the potential for? A break, a breakout, a hook, a back test, flipping your supply line into a demand line, and now a large green day, which could be starting your go. Okay, it just gives an increased confirmation for this breakout. So for those of you who trade small caps, which I think is a lot of people watching the stream, that's very interesting. Okay, this is the first time you've had a breakout and a back test on the Russell 2000 in a very long time. Okay, in a very long time. And again, just like many other stocks and assets indices, of course, accompanied by that potential hidden bullish divergence, because you did make a higher low from this low to this low while making a lower low on your MACD. All right. The Bollinger Bands, Seek is asking about. You pretty much also were like tapping your lower Bollinger Bands. You're so much closer to your lower than your upper, but you did bounce off of it already. All right, let's see the lower time frames on the Russell. Bit of load. There we go. Another one with just so much hidden bullish divergence. This is implying hidden bullish divergence implies continuation to the upside. All right, we saw a bottom put in March, and now this hidden bullish divergence on the MACD is telling us that there is if you believe that the MACD works, and I've told you all that it's my favorite indicator, you can take that as you want, but based on these variables, the MACD is, implying to us, not that there's a certainty, but that there's a higher probability that we are going to continue the overall uptrend. Yes, we've been in a short-term downtrend the last week or so, but the overall uptrend since our bottom is going to be continued, right? We've been making higher lows, and this hidden bullish divergence is telling us that this could be another higher low to put us, or to get us another higher high eventually. Okay, it's implying continuation to the upside, and you're getting it across the board. Okay, Russell does have a gap fill around 202.5 on the 4-hour chart and the 1-hour chart, I guess. Yeah, it's just testing this little level of resistance. You can see a few highs here in the past. If it breaks this, you could see that gap fill, and it did break out of a downsloping channel today. Moving on to the QQQ and the NASDAQ. We talked about this exact level last night. Okay, this blue zone over here, highs from the past, lows from the past, and you were bouncing right off that level. Again, with a potential hidden bullish divergence. Very close to a bullish engulfing candle. You have a gap to fill on the QQQ at 348.6 on the daily. All right, so around 348. Another one with even more hidden bullish divergence on the 4-hour chart. And again, on the 1-hour, we did talk about this falling wedge. We talked about this classic bullish divergence. Like, just think about this. Think about how the divergence is implying all this stuff, all right? On our low time frames last night, we talked about how we were getting classic bullish divergence on the low time frames, right? We've been in a short-term downtrend, and our low time frame MACD was telling us that the short-term downtrend is going to reverse. Classic bullish divergence is implying a reversal of the trend. So we got a reversal of our short-term downtrend based on the low time frames, and now on our higher time frames, our MACD is telling us if this can confirm that we have the potential for a continuation of an uptrend, okay? So, I mean, I just love seeing two different types of bullish divergence on two different time frames. And that's what we have right now. So, QQQ already broke out today. And yeah, all right, so that's the QQQ, the NASDAQ. Pretty much a bullish engulfing candle. Hidden bullish divergence. I know it might get a little bit repetitive, but if there's any variable you want to be repetitive, it is hidden bullish divergence. And again, let me actually like draw this out and keep it on my chart, because we keep talking about it, but I don't have it drawn out. All right, that inverse head and shoulders idea is becoming a little bit more real. It's again, there's still a lot of work to do, but the potential is still there. Okay, we shall see. I'm going to delete this now. All right. So there's your NASDAQ. And then finally the ARK ETF. This also had a hidden bullish, it had a bullish engulfing candle on the daily. I don't know if there's any hidden on this. Check on the 4-hour. Surprise, surprise. You have hidden bullish divergence nearly confirmed on the 4-hour. You also got a 4-hour bullish engulfing. ARK has a gap fill and some resistance on the 4-hour around 66. That's a very important level. All right, 66.30-ish. Very important level to watch. Yeah, there's your ARK ETF. So that's the market. All right, the variables are starting to align. We'll see what happens. We shall see what happens. We actually went straight into the market. We didn't even talk about like other markets. I just slapped myself. Let's talk about the US 10-year. Why is it just randomly pulling back at this area? Oh wait, let's go back in time. Because this area was once resistance before. Multiple years ago, it was support before, resistance before. It's just crazy. We're not just seeing these technicals work on stocks and crypto. We're seeing it work on the 10-year, which I've been breaking down for all of you live on streams for a long time, but especially since it broke out of this critical resistance. And what has it done since then? Goes straight up. It kind of did just run right through this resistance. Actually, no, it didn't. Look, it even showed some resistance at the 2.5% level. We're seeing the 10-year technicals play out perfectly. We're going to get to the dollar and gold and silver very shortly, which those are playing out beautifully as well. But before we do, let's look at the VIX. Pulling back today, it actually, I forgot who shared it in the Discord, but there was like this 5-minute or 15-minute head and shoulders pattern that it broke down from today. What was it again? I think like this was the neckline pretty much. And I had a nice little breakdown, and it ended up filling this gap over here pretty much. Let's check it on the 1-hour. Or almost filling the gap on the 1-hour. This is interesting, because you're kind of getting this bear flag on the VIX, which is good for the overall market if it can break down. All right, so chart this bear flag on the VIX, see whether or not it bounces off this demand line or it breaks down. One thing I will say though is, you know, we do have a long weekend. I saw somebody, I mean, Chad has been sharing that. Most of us know that. If you don't, now you know. We do have a long weekend, and a lot of times, you know, you could see, I've seen all types of different things going into long weekends. It just feels like the final day before long weekend is just everybody's trading a little bit differently. Some people might be just leaving early. Other people, you know, might be like, all right, I got to get all my trading done for the week so I can relax. Like, there's just weird days sometimes. So yeah, just watch the level smart. And then also I think Anna shared this in the Discord. Let's see if we could find it. Here we go. Brace yourselves for volatility, traders. More than $2 trillion in options and derivatives expire tomorrow on Thursday. This is from Bloomberg, or according to estimates from Goldman Sachs Group. Let me just read it. Roughly 495 billion in single stock derivatives are set to expire Thursday, with another 980 billion of S&P linked contracts and 170 billion in options tied to the State Street fund tracking the S&P, all running out as the holiday shortened week ends. According to estimates from Goldman Sachs Group and reported by Bloomberg. All right, so yeah. And then moving on, we have the dollar. How's this doing? Pulling back a little bit. Actually did have a little bit of classic bearish divergence on the 4-hour. Made higher highs on price, lower highs on the MACD. Remember, divergence is when the oscillator is doing the opposite as the price. And I guess it also did break this little demand line, and it's now retesting it. So we'll see if you get like a break hook and go to the downside, have like a little bit of a broadening wedge here. But on the daily, you know, it is above this level, so maybe a back test. We'll see. But again, also you do have this little bearish engulfing candle, and even on the daily. So now the variables are starting to flip for the dollar. We talked about the breakout on the 4-hour of this range it was in. It had a break, hook, and go. It went up, and now you're starting to see some like bearish candles, bearish divergence. You have a very clear bearish engulfing over here. Bearish divergence on the RSI as well, so a little bit bearish now. And then moving on to let's do Hang Seng Index first. Hang Seng Index bullish engulfing candle today, another one, but unlike the US markets, which are mainly showing the potential for hidden bullish divergence on the daily, the Hang Seng Index is showing nearly confirmed hidden bearish divergence. Okay, a higher high on the MACD, but a much lower high on price. So that's quite interesting after breaking down. So kind of some mixed variables there. Silver. It was only a couple nights ago when we talked about how silver was breaking out, had hidden bullish divergence, just like a lot of stocks and the overall market does right now. Broke out of a wedge, or broke out of this very, very key level. Okay, such a key level. Broke out of that level. And I was even saying, you know, I was making a lot of faces like I usually do when I get excited about charts, and I was even saying, you know, like I was trying to say, like, and I was saying not financial advice, but you can trade these. A lot of people just look away from silver and gold. Like, I don't want to go and buy silver and gold and get like a 1% move. There's ETFs you could trade options on, which I've done in the past. I don't do that much anymore, but like if you're watching the stream, like this was like just, again, we're seeing this happen on all these different markets, okay? The same exact types of variables playing out. Stocks, cryptos, metals, global markets, currencies, like bonds. It's crazy. It really is crazy. And then gold, same thing. All right, we talked about the hidden bullish divergence. It was back testing what was once a resistance as a support. It had two different bullish pin bar candles at the lows, rejecting the downside. The bulls were stepping up and buying at this 1890 area, and now you're rallying. Like, we've talked about this every single night on stream. There you go. So those are the markets and everything. Futures are still flat, moving up a little bit. Now we can talk about some individual names, all right? I don't know if I'm lagging or not. Hit the like button if you didn't already. Let's go to 20 likes. Also a little bit interesting, all right? We had 40 people in here because there was a giveaway last night. We're back to the 20. It is what it is. But thank you to the 21 people watching for supporting. Laid back and Mike with the vibes. Thank you. All right. Let's talk about some individual names. Let's start off with the swings, and then I'll go into other names, and then I'll do like the premium breakdowns, like, you know how we do everything. We're gonna start off with the swings, and we're gonna start off with like the one of the there was one premium swing that was down like 0.1% today. But other than that, every single swing was green today. Again, it's not super surprising. The S&P was up a lot. It was up over 1%, but Yeah, all the swings are green today except for one premium swing that was down 0.1%. It was basically flat. It was down, the stock price was down 1%, and it's like a $10 stock. And then this was like the only real swing that was like red today, which sucks. And I've been talking about this all week on stream and on Twitter, and I've been hoping for more. Again, I try and be very clear. These things are not certainties, and the variables are still there. It's just not, it's hard to time these things, but it's just still there. It's just consolidating right under this supply line. It's just been walking down supply line the whole week. I was in calls, and I shared calls in premium. Those calls went up 55%. I told you all that same day, I think it was Monday, that I just held my calls because it was very close to breakout, but also I don't want to just be like nonstop talking about something on stream and on Twitter. Like, obviously I believed in it, and I still do in a sense, but I didn't just want to be like, just nonstop talking about it, like, oh, these are bullish variables, and I'm like selling calls, like, so I just wanted to hold them at least till the next day, and I held them actually till this morning, and I always talk about risk management. It just hit my stop. I just stopped for that short-term trade again, which is very separate from like this longer-term view and swing, but just my short-term stop, it got hit, which I think it did actually help me. And again, those calls expired literally tomorrow, so I just didn't want to get screwed over with theta and whatnot. And who knows, if this rallies tomorrow, which I'm going to show you some variables, it could be interesting. And I will be looking at it very early in the morning as well tomorrow. Just kind of consolidating like downwards. But again, read the Hindenburg report. Look at the short interest was reported to be over 20% on Nortex, and what's up with the variables. So you're still just in this wedge, and all you need is like a 2-3%. Actually, a 2-3% move to break out of this wedge. Again, I mean, you could redraw to include these highs, but you have one perfect touch here, another perfect touch here, and like two of these most recent touches from today. So I think this is a little bit more of a valid supply line than retrying it to include these. And again, these were like fake outs as well, so I prefer the supply line on MULN. But what were the variables that you did get from today? You got a little bit of a bullish pin bar on the 1 hour chart, okay? And we already had that wedge still, of course. On the 30-minute, you have hidden bullish divergence. How many times, somebody get like a tracker of how many times I've said hidden bullish divergence. It's crazy. But you have that, and then I think I just showed it. It's just very quietly breaking down the 15-minute. It had like another type of breakout today. It didn't really do much. It was kind of another fake out. So there's a lot of fake outs, a lot of like downsloping consolidation. The variables, this was what I was talking about earlier. Like earlier in the day, it was like testing a breakout like over here, and so a lot of like failed mini breakouts. Just waiting to see if it can give the move. Like the variables haven't changed much, and then still the potential for, here we go again, hidden bullish divergence on the 4 hours. So we'll see. Not up to a good start. I was hoping for a quicker start, but we'll see what happens. And then 10, nice bounce off the lows, bullish engulfing on the 4 hour, bullish engulfing on the daily, even some classic bullish divergence on the daily. So again, this never got stopped out, never hit the stop, and now it's double bottoming at the PCZ of a bullish shark. If these levels can hold, this is just like we're going to go to Fisker next. Just like I was saying on Fisker, it's not a certainty we'll go up here, but it's a very favorable reward to risk. Okay, the risk for like where the stop is very, very small compared to the potential targets. Again, there's no certainty it's going to hit the targets before the stop. I'm saying the reward to risk is like you define your own risk and you define your own position size, but like you get what I'm saying. But speaking of that, I said those very similar words about two different stocks last night, and now we're gonna talk about one of them. One of them was Fisker. All right, let's just talk about the variables on the daily. Again, close to bullish engulfing candle on the 4 hour. Hidden bullish divergence yet again. Here we go. Again, it's not a coincidence. All these variables are appearing at the same time on all these different assets. Okay, and just a beautiful bounce. And there you go. Last night on stream, we talked about Fisker. I talked about how, where did it close? It closed right over here, and I said the same thing. The reward to risk is just very variable. I even showed you all this somewhat exact like risk to reward box, where if you were just playing the range today, you had 3 reward to risk. Remember when we talked about this? Okay, it was like something like this, and I was saying you have 3 reward to risk if you just play the range. Okay, I literally drew this up for all of you. Not financial advice, but I drew like the stop, the entry, the target, and just perfectly. That's exactly what happened today. I didn't actually put out a swing or like a day trade, but exactly you just had to watch the stream. I try and give out some stream exclusives sometimes. And yeah, you were at the bottom of the range, you went to the top of the range. I did play this myself personally. I made about 130% profit. I bought calls literally at the low of day, almost the cent. Like I think it was like 12.06 when I got calls, and I sold it at like 12.70. I sold my calls for 130% profit. So the exact move I was telling you all about, I was telling all of you about last night's stream, I played myself. I was even giving some updates in the morning, talking about some, remember even the 15-minute breakout. I gave an update when this broke out. So it was just, I mean, these are the scenarios we look for. If you want to learn about my system and the system I've, also learned from multiple other people, you look for the areas where your support is just under you, where you have these bullish variables and there's not a lot of overhead resistance, which gives your trade room to run. And that's what we talked about last night, and very nice 5% day for Fisker